Hello again.
Hey, George.
How's it going?
Good, but I didn't get the person interested emailed today.
Oh, okay.
I just remembered it this tonight. I've been at a conference all day. So,
All right. Well, we can tell Peg about her and give Peg the number. Maybe Peg can reach out to her.
well, actually, it's a moderator.
Oh, okay.
So it's yeah. And then I was thinking, and then I was a little uncomfortable because I don't know. I don't get involved in appointments and
Oh,
stuff.
I understand. And I feel the same way. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know her well enough to just approach her and say, hey, I talked to her briefly about it and I just threw it out there. So, but I don't feel like I want to call her at home. I don't know. I feel like it'd be
Right.
good.
I know what you mean.
Like I
think-
said, I don't really know her that well. So, you got power back.
Just about 5 minutes ago.
No
Really?
way.
Yes.
That's nuts.
No, it
What
takes
was
a-
it?
No. We had it taken down on purpose to have tree cutting.
Oh, I see.
And when they come, they fix it at, they do it in the morning and then they'll reinstate it in the evening.
Well, I thought it
So-
was because of the thunderstorm.
Oh, God, no. No, we're just cut. We've cut down so many trees. Wait.
Well, this winter took so many trees and damaged so many trees.
Yes.
yeah.
But I think it looks like we have 3 cords of wood
Nice.
that we can split. So,
Little something to add to your exercise routine.
yes,
Go to Tractor Supply and buy a log splitter.
maybe I will. I mean, we've rented one before. I love.
Yeah,
splitting
they're really
logs.
nice.
It's fun. It's
Yeah.
it's a good time had by all.
But you still have to lift the wood, so you still have the exercise part.
Yeah, what do they say? It warms you triple. You got to lift it. You got to split it. You got to lift it, right?
Right.
And then you heat it.
Absolutely. Yeah, so it's been a little crazy, but
My brother built a wood splitter.
My father
my-
did too.
Really?
Yeah, it works really well.
wow.
My dad built it, built one out of, my dad was a mechanic, but he welded together a splitter. My mom would be on this receiving end and he hooked it up to the hydraulics of his tractor. And he put
You
an
wanna see
arm
what-
on it so he could do, because we have at the 2 houses downstairs, there's wood stoves you can put 3-foot, 4-foot logs in.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a little hard to split with a regular splitter.
Yeah, we also made a saw rig with a Model T engine and a belt.
Wow. Well, all these ingenuity.
And
people.
I'll next person I'll board me, I'll see if I can find the pictures.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
When I
we
heated
put
with
our-
wood, I love splitting. I thought it was great. I did
Ah.
it by hand. It was great. I was playing softball. This is a long time ago, and I was shortstop, and my throwing arm got so good.
Oh, imagine. The new intern at my field office actually went to Amherst Regional, but he's into working out. And so he does his shoulders. 2 hours today is dedicated to his shoulders.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, that's what I
Uh,
said, George. I'm like, wow, are you gonna be able to work tomorrow?
Right. That takes discipline to keep something up like that.
It does.
God, yes.
Hi,
Yes.
Peg.
Hi, Peg.
Hello, Peg?
Oh, you're on mute, Peg.
A minute.
There, now can you hear me? Sorry.
Mhm.
I apologize for missing the meeting last month, but I did. I had it before we left, before I was gone for the month in Colorado, I had written down Thursday because our regular meetings are Thursday, and then forgot when I was in Colorado that we needed to change it to Wednesday. So I just totally blew it. I thought it was going to be Thursday. I didn't
Yeah.
write it down. Anyway, hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
We
Oh,
managed to get along. We worked it out.
we did. I don't remember it.
Yeah, it looked good. It looked good. So should we
Well, we
call
can read
this?
the minutes and you'll remember.
That's right.
I did.
That's right.
I
That's
did.
right. That's right. Okay, good. Yeah, we haven't had power for a few days, so it's been interesting. Okay.
Oh,
No, that's on purpose, just for all the trees and anyway.
Okay. So shall we call this meeting to order?
Why not?
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to add one thing to the agenda. We need to, well, first of all, let's approve the minutes. Thank you, George,
You're welcome.
from the last meeting.
I
And
want,
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry, what?
no, go, continue.
Okay. Did anybody have any changes? I wasn't there, so,
The only thing I was thinking we should do, and Susie does this in the FinCom minutes, and I noticed that Leslie did it yesterday. And I've been thinking about it, but I never remember to bring it up. On all those minutes, in the people, in the members present, Becky is always noted as ex officio member. And that's not in our minutes. And I'm thinking I should put that prefix in front of Becky's name. So it would say also present, ex officio member, Becky Torres, town administrator.
town administrator. Okay.
I like that.
I like that too.
Probably a good idea to be consistent.
Okay.
Yeah, well, and especially because she participates as much as any of us.
Mhm. That sounds good. Well, that's a good
I
idea.
don't vote though, George.
No,
I'm sorry.
No, but
I
you
do
still
not vote.
participate and you give us everything we need to know. too.
Yeah.
right.
You play a much larger role than ex officio.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with that.
But the important thing is about, I don't vote, and that's,
That is
Well,
important.
I guess, what, is there an official description of what ex officio means? I mean, I know it's a person who participates and is in all the meetings kind of thing, and
I think, and I remember learning that ex officios sometimes do vote, but that hasn't been the tradition, so,
Are they like the tiebreaker vote? Is that, would that be a situation where they might vote?
that would make, I mean, that sounds like a good idea.
yeah, but is it true? You know what?
I don't know if it's true. So I've just gone by it's been cleaner not to vote
Wait a minute.
consistently across the board. Because I definitely can't vote on select board. So I think it makes sense not to. Okay.
So maybe we can I'll look up ex officio and see what does that mean?
Yeah, so it's denoting or relating to a member of a body who holds the role as a result of the status or another position they hold. So Becky is a member of our committee because she's the town administrator.
Yep, and the finance committee.
But it doesn't address, this definition that I'm looking at doesn't address whether they can vote or not. Unless, maybe you'll see something else, Peg.
Okay, I will look that up, but I don't know how to do it while I'm online, so I'll do it during the week. Or unless
Okay.
you can. I'm not a real techie kind of person.
It should not be used to describe a type of membership in an organization, but rather an obligation or privilege as a person by virtue of their position to serve on a board or committee.
I like that definition
Mhm.
because it gives the importance of them with their participation.
Yes.
But it also says serving on the board, which means, does that person vote or not? When you
Yeah,
serve-
that's a good question.
When you serve, you vote.
I think at this point, it becomes what's the law in the Commonwealth?
Yeah, see, this definition says that they do vote.
Well, it's a conundrum.
It is a conundrum. I can tell you this, in the other two committees where Becky, you're listed as ex officio, you're not voting.
Right,
No,
it's consistent across the board.
Yeah.
Which brings up, so why don't we just leave it, George, or anybody? Let's
Well,
leave
we
Becky Torres as our town administrator.
can still call her we can still use the term ex officio because I think that's important. I
Okay.
would like to keep it.
We had her that way on the police study group too, ex officio.
Okay,
Didn't we, Becky? Yeah.
I've noticed it in all the other minutes. It just I haven't been doing it on ours, so.
George, you'll
Okay.
have to go back and amend each one of those you've written.
so the question
kidding.
is, does she vote or
Oh.
not if we have a tie? No,
no,
okay,
no,
All
no,
right.
no.
okay,
That was me just trying to
Okay.
figure out in what way the person might vote,
The
okay.
situation.
Right.
But yeah, I agree. Ex officio, no voting.
Yeah,
So-
she's more, it's more than just attending our meetings. Becky is doing much more than just
Yes.
coming
Yes.
and keeping us in line. She's doing more than that.
She's got a lot, she's got a lot of work on her hands, keeping us in line.
Okay, I
When
make,
Peg
I
showed
make a
up, I
motion, we
didn't think
approve the
you
minutes.
guys were gonna
I'll
acknowledge.
second that.
I'll second that motion. All those in favor?
Arvinettis, aye.
Ross, aye. Well, I
Make-
can't.
No, you can't.
I can't.
Well,
do
you
it.
can-
O'Neill, aye.
And
looked
Stein,
good.
I. Okay.
You
Looked
can
good.
say abstain, Peg.
Okay, I abstain. Because I wasn't there. I wanted to ask a question about the town meeting. I was handing out the trash bags. Did we do a report? Did that happen? And thank you to whoever did it. Who did it?
George wrote it, I did it.
Oh,
Well,
nice.
I gave her the bullet
Yeah,
items.
bullet points.
The whole committee put together some bullet points, right, George? Or,
Yeah,
Oh,
we
we
did that in the
worked on
last
it,
meeting.
yeah.
That's correct.
Yep,
Right.
that's
And
right.
George remembered to bring them.
and they were gonna hand them to you, but they couldn't find you.
I was over in the side. We were busy, unbelievably busy. So that went well. And thank you for presenting and writing that up, George, and presenting it.
Well, again, like Becky said, it was really the committee. It
Melissa,
wasn't just me.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a team effort.
Yeah, we did that together.
Thank you. So I guess let's go to our agenda. We did approve the minutes.
Mhm.
Okay, the written policy. We need to review the written policy for the 3-hour minimum pay.
And I apologize, I don't have it. I have to get it written up.
Okay. So that will go on our next agenda.
Right. So isn't the plan for it to start July 1?
Yep.
Can we,
That'll
can they,
be- Yeah, they don't. Yeah, it'll have to be, so it's very basic. I just have to get it written down. It's already been approved by the select board,
okay,
just
Okay.
in theory. So they just need to sign off on a physical thing. Maybe we could write it right now.
Sure.
Because all we want to say is that the fire department, when on call, when the fire department firefighters are on call and work, no matter what, when they're called out and respond, they will be paid a 3-hour minimum.
Yeah, so that you're on the right path. So firefighters will be paid a 3-hour minimum for each call they respond to. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Make
Will
a
be
good
paid
sentence?
a minimum,
A
be
minimum.
paid for a minimum of 3 hours.
and
Yep.
that will that be incorporated into a job description? Where's that going to sit?
In the handbook.
Okay,
I mean, it's gonna be, because it's, when we have a union contract, well, I think it should go in the handbook. Because it's a policy.
Is there anything
Right.
else in the handbook that has a title in that way? Of I'm not remembering.
Well, like if the police chief, there's that
Oh, yeah,
weird,
yeah, okay,
the
okay.
police
Just
chief
want to make
gets
sure.
that weird extra holiday payment that other people don't get. And
Yeah,
that's in
yeah.
policy.
Okay,
Firefighters will be paid,
minimum of 3 hours.
when they respond,
When they respond to a call.
any call.
So any call. So that is this day or night?
Oh,
Anytime.
when they respond to a call, be it day or night.
Yep. 24 hours a day.
Yeah, or 24 hours a day.
How about at any time?
and
Okay.
anytime, yeah.
Time, yeah, that's better. Yeah, because originally, I remember Lenny was saying, the night calls especially, but it should be anytime, they do a lot
Right.
for us.
Firefighters will receive a minimum of 3 hours pay when they respond to a call at any time.
I had
how about-
firefighters will be paid a minimum of 3 hours when they respond to a call, be it day or night, 24 hours per day.
Cool.
Fine, that covers
You want me
it.
to change that to be it or day or night? Is that what you're saying?
If
Well, the
the,
minutes can be slightly off maybe, or who was recording it for this, for the policy book? Becky or George?
Well, it's going to be in the minutes,
Okay, okay,
so we can lift it right out of the minutes.
okay.
That's why I'm trying to get the wording. So I changed the wording based on what Becky just said. Firefighters will receive a minimum of 3 hours pay when they respond to a call, be it day or night.
and then I had 24 hours a day, but that's redundant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think for me, the important part is for a response, because you can have a situation where somebody shows up and chief says, oh, you can all go home, and then it clears up and they all come back. What happens in that case?
George,
Gotcha.
only you would say that.
Well, just trying to think of what can be
Yeah,
wrong
I
with our
know, I
policy.
know, I know.
Say that one more time, George.
If if a firefighter responds and after an hour, the chief sends that person home, I don't need you all.
Right.
So 2 of you guys can go. And then he calls them back half hour later because the situation starts to get difficult. And they work another hour. Do they get 6 hours pay or do they get 3 hours pay?
Exactly, good point.
Or is it considered still responding? They just were called back, right?
Yes.
so
So
it's
I
part-
think we should probably add a second bullet to specify.
And
Okay, so-
that will say say what?
If an officer, if a
Firefighter.
firefighter is called back,
To the
If an-
same call?
yeah, if a
The same
firefighter
call.
works less than 3 hours at a call, but then is called at for a response, but then is called back
To
for the
same,
same response, for the same incident?
So you're saying if a firefighter works less than 3 hours for a call, but
It's
I-
called-
and leaves,
I think you leave off the less than 3 hours. If a firefighter responds to a call and is later called back for the same call, for the same incident. I don't think you have to put an hour length on it, right?
Well,
it would be-
it would be a moot point without the hour length. In
Yeah,
other words,
That's
George
true.
said, if they
Okay.
respond.
if it was over 3, well, or how about we say, if a firefighter,
so what are you trying to say, George?
what I'm trying to say is if a firefighter goes to responds to a call and leaves, but then comes back to the same call, they're still considered a part of the first call in terms of
Right.
determining the minimum hours.
yeah,
In other words, they don't get paid for 2 3-hour minimums.
But right, again, that's my example. If they show up for an hour, leave, come back for an hour, they could get 6 hours where they should only get 3
Right.
hours.
so would that
You
be,
could put it one, could you
But
list
what
it
if
this
it
way?
happens, George, the problem is, so if one call is in the morning, okay, it was 1 hour long, they go home, then at noon, there's a medical call, they respond to that.
But
So you're trying to say they can only have a
No, the
3
same
no,
once a day?
for a single incident.
3
So
hour
if they
minimum
leave the
per call.
incident, they're called
incident.
back to the incident.
yes,
So if there's a house on fire and a barn on fire and the chief says, I don't need you all, it's 2 guys go home. And then all of a sudden it spreads to the house and he needs those guys back, then they're going back to the same scene. I don't know, maybe we don't want to mention this, but you know what I'm saying? It's still the same incident.
Right.
So now they've worked an hour left, came back, needed them for another hour. Do we give them 6 hours? Is it 2, 3 minimums, or is it the total of the 2 get combined to determine the 3 hours?
Why don't we wait and see if that even becomes an issue? Can we do that?
Or we could ask the chief what he
I think-
thinks.
Yeah, because I think the issue is if because if you're okay that if it's a new call that comes in at noon, that could be a 3-hour minimum and we pay them for 6 hours.
Sure, yeah, that could
Right,
happen
yeah.
many times during the
Yeah,
day,
yeah.
so,
theoretically. I
so
mean,
what we're saying is per discrete incident.
yes,
that maybe if we write that in, that, you know,
One
that
3-hour minimum per,
per discrete incident. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Well, somebody's gonna say, what's a discrete incident? But
Right.
A firefighter will be paid a 3-hour minimum for each separate call.
Okay. Firefighter will receive a
That's
minimum of 3
closer.
hours pay.
Or separate incident. Does that make sense?
Well, it's not for a separate incident, it's for the same incident. What'd you say?
No, I said for,
No,
a firefighter will receive a 3-hour minimum for each individual incident.
in other words, like you said, 6 o'clock in the morning and noon for an emergency, a medical emergency. That would be 2 different incidents that same day. So that
Right.
firefighter would
yeah,
get,
as long as the chief or whoever responded to the call,
Hi,
calls the
Grace.
dispatch and ends the call, then even if it was at the same house, you know, it would be a new call. It would be based on the stop of a call. So once like engine 1 goes back to the station and everybody, you know, they call in at dispatch and say they're back at the station, the call ended. That would be one incident, right? That ends the incident is when
Mhm.
they get back to the station
right.
or whenever, you know.
What if they
I-
go from one call to another call?
that's 2 separate
That's 2
calls.
calls.
That's a good question.
2 separate incidents, yeah.
I mean, because they're not going back home.
No,
Right, they're
right.
still working.
I would say, I bet Lenny would say if they go from one call to another, it's all, you know,
You're on the clock.
Yeah, and that's
you're
interesting
already on
because
the clock.
we were talking, yeah,
Mm,
So it's one each time they're called in, right? So when they respond to when they arrive at the station for a call or arrive at the call, they go directly there.
So
If they're already on the
firefighter-
clock and there's another call, it's just they're getting paid for the number of hours they work at that point,
right.
right?
Mhm.
How about a firefighter will receive a 3-hour minimum for each time they are called out?
Mm,
and you know, again, in the instance that I had brought up, that would be 2 times.
I would make it respond to a call, not called out.
Yeah,
I'd
I
make
think,
it respond. Because they could be called out and then return home if they're told, if they have enough people. You know, they could be in their car starting to leave their house, and that would be technically called out by tones, by their tones.
because if they're going from one incident to another, this becomes a moot point because they're already
They're already on the
earning,
clock.
they're already
Yeah.
on moot. I have a feeling we're splitting hairs,
We
but
may
we
be
have to be
overthinking it.
clear. We do
You
have
know,
to be
but
clear. We have
when
to
you
be
write a
clear.
policy, yeah, but when you
Yeah.
write a policy, you just want to cover all bases
Yeah.
because then gray areas pop up and you got to be consistent.
Agree.
Well, this is what I've got written right now. Firefighters will receive a minimum of 3 hours pay for each response to a call, be it day or night. And then we could have another sentence, for purposes of determining the minimum.
So you changed what you had before, George?
No, actually, I think that's what I had before, except that I changed it for each response as opposed to for a response.
Could you repeat it?
Sure. Firefighters will receive a minimum of 3 hours pay for each response to a call, comma, be it day or night.
Okay, it's different than what I have.
So
What if you've got?
does this work?
Yeah, what do you have, Becky?
I have firefighters will be paid a minimum of 3 hours when they respond to a call.
For a minimum, not, they won't be paid a minimum. They'll be paid for a minimum of 3 hours.
What's the
Will
difference?
receive a minimum of 3 hours pay.
Yeah, or a minimum of 3 hours pay.
Per call.
Yeah, I mean, for each response to a call, if they get sent home and come back, that's 2 separate responses to a call. So,
Right.
so for each response to a call may not be the best language, you know, I don't know, maybe that's not fair to do to them. I don't know.
Well, it seems like if they're on a call and then another one rolls into it, that's clear. They're on the clock. If they're on a call, they go home and there's another call, no matter what it is, that should be another 3-hour minimum.
yes,
If it's a different call.
Yeah.
I think what we're talking about is, do they have to, like, the example that George gave was, if there's a smoldering fire and Lenny thinks it's out, and doesn't need those people, and then the fire, picks up again, like 4 hours later.
I'm not sure we'd have an exact incident that Lenny would definitely make sure that was out. You know, but
Yeah.
I understand
what
that,
if
if it was a medical issue and they were. say,
Melissa, I think you have to leave. I think Peg is right, because there was a house fire across from my son's. The whole Orangeville Fire Department was there all morning. They cleared out within
did?
an hour. Every single one of them had to come back, and the house
Really?
burned down.
wow.
Wow.
That was
They
bad.
usually use a thermal thermometer to check the walls out.
Yep, I don't
They
know
never
what they
did.
did, but something came, a new spark developed, and there they were.
Hmm.
It was terrible.
So would our fire department firefighters receive 2 3-hour minimums on in that case? I mean, chances are that kind of a case is going to be more than 3 hours anyway, but
Right.
The other thing is, it won't, how often is that going to happen? How often is a situation where they have to respond 3 or 4 hours later going to happen? And isn't it worth it for the town to pay these people if that happens not very frequently, and just to keep them on the force?
so
Or
maybe
fighting?
for clarity, maybe anyone you're called for any incident, you get a 3-hour minimum period. 24 hours a day or night. That's what we're saying. And so in these situations, if there's an incident, you go home, that incident re-emerges, then they're still responding to a separate call.
But what if they go out, they have a medical, they go to the medical, it's an hour, they're heading back, they get a call for a brush fire, that takes a couple hours, and then they go back, and they all go home, and that evening, there's a third medical. So we end up paying them 9 hours for 3 hours worth of work.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get a situation, if they had 5 calls, we could owe them for 15 hours when they worked, 5 hours. But
I don't know.
that's
Does that
what
happen?
we're trying to do.
Right.
That's the result, that would be the result of the policy that we're talking about. I think we've already decided we're going with that.
Yeah, because in the police write-up of a 4-hour minimum, it just says if you're called in, you will be paid for a 4-hour minimum.
Yeah.
So I think the important thing is that they have to be called in.
Right. And when they are, they get a 3-hour minimum.
So maybe it should be firefighters will be paid for minimum of 3 hours when they are called in.
When they call in and respond. Yes.
When they, what, and respond?
Yes. So they call in, they respond, they get a 3-hour minimum, they go home. And it could happen.
That's
we could
another
look
call.
at the fire logs. I'm sure this doesn't happen very often where there's,
That's what I was going to ask. How do we know how often this happens? Is it a frequent
It's just
event?
a freak thing that some weekends they can get 3 calls in one night. They just get in at midnight and they get called. There's
It can really
many
add
times
up in those cases.
alternate. And Walter's been like, yeah, there was a brush fire, we got home from that, then there was a evening fire, an evening medical and a midnight some weekends they're just crazy.
Yeah, true.
But I
They
think
could
the,
be dead.
but the intent is when these firefighters respond to a call, we want to give them a 3-hour minimum. That's the intent. So we're not saying, but if there's 2 calls in one day, you don't get that.
Yeah, because you very well
think-
could.
You could,
You
but they.
Then
could.
there could be a week where they don't have hardly any. you know,
Right.
So I think it balances out in the end.
I do too. That's what I was trying to say. I mean, I think it's worth saying 3 hours
Oh.
per call. I mean, because the calls may be 10 hours apart.
Mhm.
There may be a morning call and an evening call. And that would be,
And not the same firefighters will be going to each one of them. Hopefully it'll be
Right.
now, it'll be more of a mix for Lenny.
And
So,
so that's the intent
Yeah.
is. So I think we're sort of overthinking it.
yes, I agree.
I'm sorry about that. I just
no.
Well,
thinking
no, you
about
have a different brain.
It was
your brain-
important. It's important.
I'm stress
conversation to have.
testing it. I like to stress test things. Policies need to be,
It
put.
is,
No,
So-
I think that's, yeah.
it's a
I've
good
got a
idea
piece
to
of
think
information
about
here
it.
For you.
And it may be, I'm suggesting that we leave it as is, a 3-hour minimum. And if we find out this is an issue, then we have to come back and deal with it.
But we still need to clarify that it's for each discrete incident.
Right,
Still need to say 2 sentences.
yeah.
Each individual.
So here's some interesting information you might find handy. Recently the annual report was distributed and I have it on my computer. So I went to the fire department. There were 131 calls in 2022.
Okay.
80 of them were medical, which is more than half. And 16 of them were vehicle accidents. Vehicle accidents generally don't take those 2 things, medical and vehicle accidents. 96 calls typically would be less than 3 hours, don't you think?
Some of them, yeah.
The accidents often will take at least 3 hours.
Oh, is that true, Becky? Oh,
Because they really have to, it depends on how quickly the ambulances come.
okay.
And then how involved they are too, right?
Yeah.
Right, because that also includes the.
Right.
If there's any fluids
Fluids.
leaking, they'll stay to make sure they don't ignite.
Okay. All right. So then maybe, but how about medical calls? What's the normal response
Yeah,
time?
I
on
think
that?
closer to an hour usually, I think. Because
Yeah, and then,
ambulances come and the person's taken away and they're back.
And so how many ambulance calls did we have?
About 60.
well, this said 80 medical. I don't know if they're ambulances or if they're all
Okay,
ambulances.
yeah, that's what I meant, 80. And how many people, well,
And most of the, it's 80 medical, 16 vehicle accidents. Those are by far the most of any category. The third highest one is alarm sounding. That's less than an hour. I would bet most of the time.
yeah.
And
How many
then
of those were there?
9.
Oh, nine.
And then you had other
And they're
things.
all to town hall.
I know, that's what I was.
No,
thinking.
no, that I burned.
You had
toilet
one
bread
too?
day.
Good.
They were there too quickly before I got to the alarm company, told them it was fine.
Oh, it does say that the 131 calls took approximately 770 man hours to complete. If
Is
that's
that-
any help, I
So
don't think it is.
what's the average per call?
Well, the chief goes on most of those
If-
and he doesn't fall under the 3-hour minimum.
No,
That's true.
But
Yeah,
his
it's-
hours are recorded in the 770.
Right.
That comes out to 5.87 hours.
just
call.
up to. Okay. So,
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'm sure it's all kinds of stuff, and it includes mutual aid. Who knows how many, firefighters? That's what it says. The 131 calls took approximately 770 man hours. That's what it says.
I have a question. How does?
Oh, I know why. Hi, Devin. Hey, Nick.
Lenny,
Good.
Does Lenny call all firefighters when he goes to let's say a medical
He
response?
doesn't call any firefighters. Dispatch sounds an alarm.
So whoever's available responds.
Mhm.
Okay,
Well,
But they have this new system where Lenny can see who, that there's this software that they let everybody know whether they can respond or not and where they are. So Lenny has a sense of how many people are available right away. But the reason it's almost 6 man-hours per call is because you have multiple people.
mm-hmm.
So if you have 3 people, it's a 2-hour call.
but we're not gonna have everybody showing up at every incident, every time the alarm goes off, or the dispatch contacts us.
Unless it's near Christmas or, I mean, a holiday where they need more money.
Oh, boy. Yeah, we're definitely overthinking this.
Yes,
So can I read this again? I know, George, yours is different. I'm gonna read mine and then you can tell me how to change it.
Okay,
Firefighters will be paid for a minimum of 3 hours when they are called in and respond, be it day or night. A firefighter will receive a 3-hour minimum for each discrete incident.
Or maybe separate, what might be a better word than discrete. No. No.
Individual.
just
I
each
think
incident.
discrete says it. I just hope people don't misinterpret
Yeah,
it.
We
Well,
could just
yeah,
say each
each
incident.
incident, yeah, just say each incident. Or each separate incident.
Becky, if you could, I'm fine with it. Becky, if you could throw that in an email and just shoot it to me, I'm gonna put it in the minutes.
I'm happy to use yours too, George. I
No,
just.
no, it doesn't matter to me. I like what you wrote, and
Okay.
I think it covers it.
Yeah,
I'm okay with it. Sounds like
Good.
everybody else is okay with it.
And then,
Yeah.
you know, if we find we need to discuss it later on, we can. I mean, but you can't take away,
right.
Well, should
take
we,
away what people have been given. I mean, as far as understanding of responses and things. But I think it makes sense. I think what Becky wrote makes sense.
and Becky, you're gonna run it by the chief, just let him know this is what we came up with.
Yeah, and then I'll take it to the select board.
Okay, so should we vote on this?
I think so. Okay.
Sure, I'll make a motion. We accept the verbiage for the 3-hour minimum for firefighters.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Overnight aside,
Ross, aye.
Make peace, O'Neill, aye.
Stein, aye.
Okay.
as
Becky,
soon as I
just out of
receive that from Becky, I'll put it in the minutes.
curiosity, when you do talk to Lenny, see if he can think of, and not that he has to go research it necessarily, any incidents that rolled one into another like that.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Just that, and it doesn't have to go actually look deeply for it, but if he could just, if he thinks that any've happened in the last year like that, and I don't know that there may not have, unless it was the ice storm.
Yeah.
Ice storm.
Okay, so moving on, we have continued the discussion of the assessor positions. I did not, because I was gone, I did not understand the hours. So the administrative, how did they get changed? They got changed 20 hours.
A week.
It used to be 20 hours a week. It is, our current new administrative assessor will be working 20 hours per month.
Okay, and can I just ask why? Did they find out there wasn't that much work? I wasn't there.
No, because he's the best assessor, west of 495, and is incredibly competent, and the clerk is doing more than she did, a little bit more than she used to do. And the Board of Assessors are very competent and are stepping up. But the main thing is he's just his wealth of experience, 35, 40 years in the field. That's what it will take him to maintain the assessor's office.
Great.
In combination with and we still need to figure out how many hours the clerk is going to end up working.
Mhm.
And that'll be another recommendation, but she needs to, we have a few, we don't know, because she only had him about, 5 to 10 hours a month prior to May. So we don't know yet how many hours the clerk is going to need. So we've got to log that before we make that adjustment officially. And right now she's working whatever is necessary to complete her tasks.
Do we know how much that is at this point?
It's been between 20 and 30 hours a week.
Wow.
But like I said, that is prior to the assessor working more hours. So we don't know what it's going to look like going forward because she has a lot more support than she had before.
Okay,
But the assessor is going to be working fewer hours, correct? You said,
Okay, we have not had an assessor since last June.
hmm,
Okay, we didn't have an assessor. We relied on Roy Bishop came in as a consultant. And then David Burgess came in to give us a helping hand, did not allow us to pay him until I finally talked him into taking $500 towards all the work that he was providing for us. And then he came to me and said that moving forward, he would work 20 hours a week at 20 hours a month at $25 an hour.
Hmm.
Which is 5, so he's working 5 hours a week, basically.
okay, so as far as the assessor's clerk, that's still in process, trying to figure out the number of
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to catch up on that. I have two things to bring up. Is there anything else we need to talk about as far as the assessor positions?
Do we need anything about this in the minutes? It doesn't sound like we accomplished anything.
I don't think we could, no, or you could
no,
just,
it just was a review of what happened already.
right.
right.
Yeah, which was in the minutes, the last set of minutes.
Right.
And we
I
need
just-
more,
I just
more,
need to catch up on it.
and we need more information on the number of hours the clerk is actually meeting. Then we can add to that.
Okay.
Okay.
So, two things of which I can only remember one right now.
That's good.
What's happening with the highway superintendent?
Oh,
We need to select a representative for the hiring committee.
So is he saying he's going to retire?
He will be retiring September 30th.
Ah, okay.
Huh.
September 30th.
I wouldn't mind being on that. Maybe, let me phrase that again. I would love to be on that hiring committee.
Okay. So what do you think? Does everybody?
I'll make
I-
a motion.
I
April
nominate-
represents personnel board on the hiring committee for this highway
I
superintendent.
will second that motion.
All right.
Those in favor?
Arvanitis, aye.
Ross, aye.
Aye.
Stein, aye.
Okay,
Huh.
Becky, you said September 30?
I'm sorry?
September 30?
Yeah,
So has that been advertised yet?
nope.
no, because he was trying to decide when he was going to retire. So that's sort of changed a bit, right, Becky?
Yeah, and I want to get the committee, because I missed finance committee. I'm going to have to ask AJ to reach out. I was hoping to start everybody July 1st.
Mhm.
Get the committee started in July 1st and then get the advertising out and make sure they approve the advertising and move from there.
He
Okay.
will be missed. He has been
Yes,
fabulous.
he's a good guy.
Montague Road, what he sprayed while I was gone, everybody was talking about how wonderful it was. The dust on Montague Road. It was wonderful, and it's still pretty
It
good.
was.
What a difference it makes.
Yeah. I mean, he has worked so hard.
He has,
And-
he has. For sure, he deserves to retire.
I
Another
hope we have some good people out there.
I do too. Well, I'm wondering about,
We'll see.
People,
Yeah, I think we're all wondering the same thing, Peg.
yeah, okay, I think so.
Yeah, we're hopeful.
Well, we're all smiling, so that's good.
I think we're all thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You probably should take a vote to recommend, if you guys are, if you're gonna recommend April to be on it, you should probably vote that.
we did.
we just did.
We
You guys
did.
did vote it?
We
Oh
did.
my
We're saying goodbye to someone as we voted
Yeah,
it.
we're like that.
Yeah, you were saying hi to somebody.
I wasn't gonna let April change
Oh,
her
okay.
mind, Becky.
The police department's been going in and out waving.
Oh, well, there you go.
And
So
great-
another thing on my mind is, we need to talk about a finance committee member for this committee, for the personnel committee, right?
That can just be me.
Yeah. If the finance committee can recommend George, and then we'll leave it to the public. Then it's the
It's the public
moderator
person.
who picks. It's not, you don't select the membership.
Right, exactly.
It's the moderator. So, and if you know of anybody, I make a recommendation to the moderator.
Okay, so how do we start? So George, were you at large?
I was at large.
Oh,
But our next meeting, the finance committee is going to be reviewing appointments for the upcoming year, and I'll just say, make me the personnel board rep.
okay, great,
That should be pro forma. That should
So
be-
we need a new at-large
at
person.
large, right.
Okay,
So we can all be thinking, and then we need to talk to the moderator generally to
Yeah.
let Paul know.
yeah.
So do we want to, how do we do this? Do we just come up with possibilities between us and then put those names all forward, or do we do it separately? Or do we just, I can talk to Paul about it.
Well, we have one potential candidate.
Oh,
Yeah, somebody I talked to sounded like she was interested, and she said she has the skills from what she does in her day job that would be helpful on this committee, and she was comfortable with the idea of serving on this committee.
well, that sounds great.
Yeah, and she's
We
somebody
have
who'd
fun.
worked on the school board, so she's somebody who, kind of knows how some of this works. A lot of this works.
Good.
So was she gonna reach out to Paul, or does Peggy?
I doubt it. I
Yeah.
think we should probably ask Paul to reach out to her.
Mm.
And it's,
Becky, you have her number, right? Well, yeah, you do. 'Cause
Whoa,
you
whoa, whoa,
talked to
no,
her.
right, isn't that bad? Shouldn't she be reaching out to the moderator rather than the moderator reaching?
Yeah.
Is that?
no,
she
it can
should
go
do-
either way. It can go either way.
Okay,
He reaches out to people too.
Well, she might be sitting at home hoping we all forget.
No, we
I'll
won't
figure that
forget.
out. 'Cause I think she'd be good. I mean, I don't know her that well, but I've seen her in other meetings. She seems lovely.
So do we want to keep her name between George and Paul? How do we want to do this?
yeah,
Well, Becky knows who it is too.
So maybe do you think one of either George, you, or Becky would feel comfortable calling her and asking her to call Paul?
I
If no-
generally don't do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, and does Paul normally do that? If Paul hasn't,
Yes.
if we give Paul the name, will he do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Can you do that then, George, if we want to keep it?
Becky has the only thing I'll say is Becky has her phone number. Becky, if you want, send me the phone number and I'll pass it along. Or if you
I
want to
have-
reach out, if
I
you're
have an
talking to
email.
Paul,
I have his email.
oh yeah, me too. I could email it to him.
Yeah, do that because I think he responds. Well, I've got a cell phone for him too. But in any case, so George, do you want to do that
Yeah,
since?
I'll do it. I'll reach out to Paul, no problem. I
Okay.
just need the number, her phone number.
Okay,
Or unless Becky, you think Paul already has it.
I just have an email.
Okay. Yeah, if you would just send me the information, I'll reach out to Paul. That's fine.
well, that's good. So it'd be nice being back to 5. Has anybody heard from Melody?
I almost I almost ran into her with my car.
Oh,
She
geez.
moved quickly out of the way, which was good. And I slowed down very quickly, but she was out and about, getting a nice walk, and she was looking better. She said she, it was one of her first days getting out, outside, and she was starting to feel better. And this was only like last week,
Wow. Wow.
but she
You know,
seemed good.
Good. That's
Yeah,
good.
I don't know all she's gone through.
I thought I heard it was a concussion.
I can-
Post-concussive syndrome can be pretty bad.
Yeah, it can last a long time.
Wow. Well, our best to her and
Yeah,
hope that,
So she did a good job here.
she did a really good job. Yep,
Made good contributions, no question about it.
Oh, yeah.
yep. And she came up with the market alignment. That was her term.
And when we did the COLA calculation, she came up with some good ideas, putting minimums
Yep.
and maximums on it was a really good idea.
boy, wasn't that smooth this year? Having that
Yeah.
all set up? Wasn't that smooth?
Yes.
Very nice.
That
It's
would
not
have
like
been
the
a
good old
war.
days.
Oh my God, that was great.
That was great. That was great. It was worth all the time
Mhm.
spent trying to figure it out because boy, it made smooth sailing.
One of those things that came out of COVID that was a good thing.
Yeah,
Don't
right.
have to go back to meeting all in the room downstairs, all separated by tables,
we each got into our own tribe,
Yeah,
pulled out the drums and started banging.
basically, yep.
Yeah, it's
That's
pretty
right.
good. Yeah, we do have to review that policy this year. It was one of the things we had talked about during the year.
Mhm.
Okay.
When the wage and tax summary comes out, I'll put together the analysis I did last year
That'd
or
be great.
3 years ago, if you can
Yeah,
believe that.
thank you. Yeah, that's, yeah. Boy,
I think it
what-
was
That
2
would be
years
great.
ago.
what happened to those years? So I don't, personnel ongoing business, just checking. Personnel handbook policies, review and updates, classification schedules, policy and procedures manual, anything new on any of those?
Top
No,
priorities for
Nope,
next year.
they gotta nail them this year.
yep.
Okay. So,
Can
when,
I'm sorry, Peg, could I just ask Melissa real quick? Are you okay with me adding the 3-hour policy to the minimum policy to the select board agenda?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Okay,
that
good.
should be a quick thing because we've already discussed it.
Right.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Peg, sorry, I just want to be sure.
okay, that's okay. So we need to decide when our next meeting will be, and I don't have a calendar in front of me.
Well, January 20th would be the third, July, excuse me, would be the
January.
third
Next
Thursday.
one in January.
Yeah, let's, July 20th, sounds good.
That works for me.
Yeah.
I don't have anything there currently yet.
How about August?
You do?
Yeah, what's the last Thursday in August?
Third Thursday would be 17th.
Okay, it's gonna be hot.
I hope. When's that going to start?
I know,
Yeah.
Not wherever I'm sitting, it won't be.
I know,
We're getting lots of rain, but,
I know.
we've
If
had-
I picked up,
Did you say the 17th of August?
Yeah, of August, yeah.
we picked up 1¼ inches in the last 24 hours.
Oh, I did
Wow.
read that yesterday. That was pretty interesting.
That's,
Oh, that was a heavy downpour.
yeah.
Oh, that was
And then
wild.
when we get sun, we got some sun today, but the skies from the fires up north. I don't
It's
know.
been
They're saying we
crazy.
may get another round of that stuff.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
Well, I was,
Curious about that. So I haven't heard anything in the news about, they were supposed to get rain earlier this week up there, and the hope was that it was going to suppress a lot of that. I haven't heard anything though.
I haven't read, I haven't heard.
The air coming from us has been going up, so it's been pushing it up. The keeping the smoke at bay. So I don't know. We had a
Yeah, we were
issue
getting all
with it.
that smoke because there was a low pressure system over the Maritimes, and it was pushing the air counterclockwise, south towards the southwest, and then down south, and then southeast. And so it was just circulating right down into New York and then
It
farther
was like nothing
south.
pulling it. It's
But
pulling
that
I
low
was in-
pressure system probably moved off.
When I was in Colorado, same thing, and it was from the fires in Alberta.
Wow.
right down the front range. So
Wow.
I was out there to help take care of the little guy, our youngest grandchild. And I couldn't take him out in a stroller. They were saying, if you don't have to go out, same thing they were saying here. Don't
Yeah.
go out if you
Yeah,
don't.
New York City was awful. And we really could barely even see some of the buildings.
I went out to the Berkshires. We were canoeing in Huntington on Lake Littleville, and I couldn't believe the difference over there in the Berkshires compared to what we had. It was,
Hmm.
you could barely see across the lake.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Wow.
It
Yeah,
was really bad over there.
I got out of work that day, and usually when you get on the highway to go home, you can see Mount Tom. You couldn't see a mountain even existed.
Wow.
It looked like there was nothing there.
Right
Well,
from the highway, huh?
Yeah,
Wow.
right by the highway. In the valley, it seemed to be much worse in the valley. Coming up out of the valley, it was much less here. It just like hunkered down, the heavy pressure, the heavy air.
On the way to the airport in Denver, you couldn't see the airport coming.
Wow. Wow.
That's a big airport too.
Yeah, it's a big airport. It's white. It sticks up.
Lots of
You
lights.
see it.
Yeah.
You could not see it.
Wow. Well, I was
So how
able to
about
get, I was able to sail my sailboat into its mooring at the Harriman Reservoir today in Wilmington, Vermont. It was perfectly clear,
Nice.
perfectly clear.
Nice.
Nice wind.
Good.
Yeah, big body
Sunshine.
water.
Yeah, it was nice.
That's
Go
all.
by the nudist beach.
Yeah, every time. I tell those people, put that clothes on, please.
Yeah. Well, they haven't had the
Well,
weather yet for it.
No.
On that word, I think we are going to
Well,
See, this is why people
how about
want to join us. We
September?
have fun.
That's why
Exactly.
we need an
September
adult
1st.
in the room is what we need. Thank you.
Nah,
Yeah.
nah.
Okay, so all those in favor of ending the meeting?
Arvinette, aye.
Ross, aye.
Make peace, O'Neill. Aye.
Stein eye.
Okay, so
All right.
done with business.
All right.
Great
Awesome.
Good
job,
night.
guys.
Nice job,
Okay.
everyone.
Good
Take
job.
care.
See you
Bye-bye.
in
Enjoy.
Bye.
All right. Take care of yourselves.
Bye.
Yes, same here. Bye-bye.
Good night.